to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so this is really cool. First of all, I love storybooks like this, and I have like a million questions for you.
Good.
So, when did this come out? What inspired you to write this?
So it came out in February, and I wrote it. My son inspired me to write it, actually. So I grew up in foster care and didn't have a lot.
Really? Like, how old were you when you started in foster care?
2.
No way, your whole life?
So I was with one foster family the whole time. It was not a good situation ever. I grew up in the mountains. So I grew up with really bad depression, and I was on medication for a very long time.
Even as a kid you were on the medication?
No, I started, I didn't get any help as a child.
Back in our day, they didn't have stuff like that.
I know, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like, get over it, go outside, get some sunshine.
Exactly.
So no, I think the first time I talked to a therapist to try to get some help, I was probably 21, 22. And of course, right away, they put you on pharmaceuticals. So, And at the time, I didn't know any better. So I got on them, and then when my son got around 19, 20, he started he just got really depressed.
So he started having this, and you recognize the signs because you had that.
Exactly. And but he was bad, like really bad. And he didn't want to take any kind of antidepressants because if you know anything about antidepressants, they do warn you that at certain age groups, they're not good to take because it can make you suicidal.
Right.
So his friend had committed suicide on antidepressants for a long time. I didn't know that. He just refused to take them. He's like, I'm not taking them. I just don't want to.
He wouldn't tell you why. Okay.
He didn't tell me why for a long time. And then one night he broke down and he was just because he was bad. I thought he would be he was suicidal bad.
That's so scary
kind of where
for you.
I was terrified. And then when you're he refuses to take this, what am I supposed to do? And so I talked to him about it. He finally told me, this is what the issue is. My friend commits suicide on him. I just don't want to take it. And then that's when I was got it. Now I understand why you refuse to do this. So I started just looking into more natural ways to help, or just anything.
So what did you find?
So, just mind. So I found a few different things. I don't know, microdosing was one of the things I found.
On shrooms?
With mushrooms, yes. And I highly recommend it. It's weird, people, because I don't do anything. And so people are really, you? And I'm you take such a small amount, you don't feel it. You have no idea.
I've heard of this, yeah.
Yeah, and I swear by it, because I quit taking my antidepressants. When he refused to take them, I figured, okay, if we're going to find something that's going to work for him, I want to try it first. I'm not going to have him try something that I haven't even tried. So I first tried the microdosing. But then the other thing that I had found was just mindset and the way you think. And in social media and just everywhere now you hear about manifestation. It's all over the place. Well, if you think about it, just the whole concept of it is just learning to control your thoughts and your mind and your thinking and just your feelings. But that's really hard to tell someone, be positive. I used to tell my son that all the time, and he would get so mad. His dad and I would always be you're so negative. You need to be more positive. And he would get so frustrated and be that's so easy for you to say. And he's right. It's so easy to say, oh, just be more positive. But so that's not an easy concept to grasp. But so I thought if you teach your children from a young age to learn to control their own thinking and their own mind and the way they think about things and the things that they are thinking about and focusing on, then as an adult, that's just going to be some second nature to them. I didn't know this growing up, hey, if you sit there and you think about the thing that's making you sad, you're going to get more sad.
Nobody cared about our feelings when we were kids.
No. And nobody told you that things. They just did it.
They did it.
And nobody knew better. Everybody.
Right.
We're
not aware and aware.
No,
it's
go outside and play, you'll be fine. So, it was just a matter of learning to control the way you think. So if you sit there and you stew in your sadness, just that's why I think people that are depressed get more and more depressed, because they sit there and you stay in bed, and I've done it, and you think about the things that are bringing you down, and then it gets worse and worse and worse, and you're just spinning out of control. But if you can learn to control the way you think and the things you think about just by focusing on certain things, then that can bring you out of it and it can make all the difference. But just telling somebody be positive is just the stupidest thing you can possibly tell someone. So if you teach a child from a young age, hey, when you're feeling this way, focus on this instead of this, that just becomes second nature to them. And then as an adult, they learn that when they are feeling those things, you can change the way you feel by changing the way you're thinking. And it sounds so simple, but it's really not if you have not grown up doing that. Like, it sounds so silly, but the whole manifestation like concept is based around that. Like, you think about the things you want, you think about the way you feel, you think you have so much more control over your mind and your body and the way you feel than you give yourself credit for.
Right. And so that's what made you write that. What did he think about this? Because it's a children's book, and your son's an adult now. So
he loves it.
He was like, what?
Yeah, he was like, so when I first, I think he thought it was sweet that I dedicated it to him. And then those are our dogs in it. I used my dogs, nice. And then I tried to make it like how I looked when I was a child or whatever. But
it's interesting because your main character is a little girl.
You're what?
That your main character is a little girl, but yet.
Well, so I did it like what I would have looked like when I was little, just because I don't know how he would have felt about me using him as a character. So I was like, I'll just skip over that.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so that's basically why I wrote it. And
so what kind of feedback have you been getting?
I've been getting good feedback, just the positive outlook on it. And then there's a scripture at the very end of it, which ties it in, because TBN is the one that published it.
Is that that's not self-publishing, that's an actual...
No, it's Trinity Broadcasting Network.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, they're the ones that published it because of the scripture at the end of it. Because really, manifestation is, like, in my opinion, it's real. Like, if you read your Bible, it talks about it. It says right there, this is what you need to focus on. This is what you need to think about. Don't think about the bad things. Think about the good things. Don't think about, like, the bad things that happened in your past. Think about the way you want your life to go, not where it was. Yeah. Exactly. So it's all about just learning to control your thoughts and the way you think and the way you speak and the things you say, and those little things that, like, we just weren't taught when we were little. It was just kind of like, you just be.
So wait, is this like, tell us about your history with writing and writing children's books. That's a big thing to dive into.
So it's funny, I never planned on writing a children's book. I had always kind of wanted to write an adult book just based on my life, just because I've had just crazy
I'd read it. You told me a little bit, but I'm like, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do. But I'm not necessarily a writer, so I would definitely have to find a ghostwriter for that.
But this is a great way to dabble.
So that's just, and that just kind of like came up when I was sitting there, and I was just honestly racking my brain on like ways to help my son and just different things, and that just kind of came to me, and I thought, you know what, like, if I could teach other people to teach their children at a young age this concept. I mean, I wasn't able to teach my son at that age that concept, but that doesn't mean other people can't. One day I'll teach my grandchildren those things. But I just think that, or he could share it with his children, but I just think teaching those little things to our kids could make all the difference in the world. And so it just kind of happened. I didn't even mean to do it. It just kind of happened.
I love it. No, most real writers, they say that, it just comes to them. But where did you get an illustrator? Because that's a big thing to be like, that's really big to be like, okay, this is my thought process. Now I have to put it into your brain, and you have to make it, the rest of us can see it. So how did you do that?
So the funny thing is, I did self-publish it at first, and I self-published it. I found a illustrator on Fiverr, and we kind of went back and forth for a long time.
I've heard a lot of people have been using Fiverr for that.
Yeah, like they have illustrators, they have writers, they have stuff for everything on Fiverr. So I hired one on there, and I don't even remember where he was located. Another country. He wasn't even here.
I've heard that too. Yeah, and you get really good ones. Okay.
Yeah. So we just kind of went back and forth on like my thought process on it, and then I published it like on my own, and there was something messed up in it, and I didn't know until after I had already published it.
What was messed up?
It was like one word was wrong at the end of it, and I didn't know for a long time. Like, nobody told me. Like, nobody mentioned it to me, and then one day, who mentioned it to me? I can't remember who it was that mentioned it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was so embarrassed. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, there's a So I took it down right away, and I was just so upset. And then literally the next day I'm scrolling on my phone, and TBN pops up on there, like they're looking for like publishers and just different stuff. And I was like, you know what, I might as well try. And I think it helped that I already had made it with the pictures and everything, kind of the concept that I had wanted, even though I wasn't a huge fan of the pictures. Like they were good, but they weren't exactly what I wanted.
Okay.
Yes. So when I sent it to them, they had their illustrator redo it, and we kind of went back and forth and did it a little bit more so like what I wanted. Like I sent them pictures of my dogs. Like there's pictures of my dogs on the back of it
you're
too.
like, I have my dogs. You were like, no, I mean, you want it the way you want it. And I'm like, that is a cute dog.
they're cute. They're adorable. I love my dogs. So yeah, they use their publisher on that, their illustrator on that. So, but I gave them my old illustrations, and we just kind of went from there. And
That's really cool.
Yeah.
You told them, hey, had it up for a minute. No one really saw it. We took it down. And they took it. That's really cool.
So yeah, it was interesting the way things. It just kind of worked out. I don't know. I was frustrated, and God just put it on my phone right there, and I was like, okay, I guess this is what I'm going to do. Called them up, and they took it, and I'm like, sweet. So yeah.
So where can we buy a copy?
So it is on Amazon. I usually send people to Amazon just because everybody buys on Amazon. It's the easiest place.
Okay.
It is in like Barnes and Nobles and different like local bookstores. I don't know exactly which ones they're in, just because it is worldwide. So like they distribute it everywhere, and they have like their list of who they distribute it to, and they don't share their list with anybody, I guess. I don't know. So they say it's in like Barnes and Nobles, it's in local bookstores, it will be in like Walmart, stuff like that. It's just kind of hit and miss wherever I go. I kind of look for it, but I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I don't go to a lot of bookstores, to be honest.
You don't have a lot anymore.
Yeah. So usually I just tell everybody, just go to Amazon. It's the easiest place.
Are you doing any book signings that we can come to?
I have not done any yet, but I want to. I do want to. I'm actually, my cousin is, I guess he knows somebody over at Marjorie Mason Center, and we're actually going to approach them to see if we can work with them on some stuff, like just donating a bunch of books to the Marjorie Mason Center and CASA and stuff like that, and then maybe getting some kind of book signing out of doing it there or something. I don't know. Like,
we've had the head of CASA here many times.
Yeah, that's what Drew was saying. Yeah, because I volunteered for CASA for a while, like about 6 years ago.
Great, you're exactly the candidate they want.
Yeah, that's exactly why I did it, because I was like, I get these kids. I understand this.
So how was that when you volunteered?
It was crazy. My very first, like, I can't, like, obviously you can't give names or anything.
Yeah, no, I understand.
But my very first caseload I had was 4 children, and they were adorable. I love them. They're so sweet. But the very first time I met them, I had to go take them to go see their mom, who didn't have custody of them, hadn't seen them in a very long time, wasn't allowed to be alone with them. She was supposed to have somebody there to watch with them. Anyways, her father was there. So I dropped them off, kind of crazy. I tell her, this is how much time you have. I come back. She's locked me and him out. We had to call the cops. They have to bust down the doors, and we had to go in there and get the kids. I was like, that was my first day with CASA. I was like, it's crazy. It's a wild ride.
About that, but that's fun.
It was a wild ride, yeah.
Well, you were the perfect If anybody understood it, it was you. So
yes, I just scooped them up, put them in the car, and it was just like, but I got it. Like, I feel like that's why I did it, is because I feel like I connect with them. I understand what you're going through. I know you're scared. I get it.
That's why I'm like, you're the perfect person. Someone that does understand.
Yeah. So yeah, it would be great to work with CASA on this, just because I love their organization and I wish more people volunteered with them. I do want to volunteer with them again when I have more time on my hands, but they're amazing. What they do is amazing.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's amazing. It's like everybody who takes, because you have to actually go through classes and everything to have been in that position.
You do, yeah. Because as a foster child, I would have killed for a CASA advocate when I was little. Like, I would not have been in the situation I was in.
If you had one.
Yeah, I never would have. Like, my siblings and I would have been taken out of that household long before that. And instead, my sister ran away when she was 13, ended up on the streets, and I left home when I was 16. So, but if we had had an advocate, we would have had somebody to speak up for us, it would have made all the difference. So I try to encourage people all the time, like, if you have the time or whatever, somebody that does have the time, like, volunteer with them. They need it.
So I feel like there's another children's book in your future. I don't feel like this is,
There's gotta be. I was just talking to Drew about it. I was like, yes, these are kind of my ideas, but yes, definitely I want to do another one.
Oh my gosh. So did you read a bunch? See, because I think the hardest thing probably, I mean, this is just my opinion, is knowing, okay, I want this age demographic. So how do I make it make sense for them? Because even though you have all these ideas, it's like there's a big difference between, 8-year-olds to 3-year-olds to like 12. So how did you go through that where you figured out this is the structure for this age?
Well, I think I went with that age group because I tried to get them, the younger you could get them, to teach them these like little concepts, because a habit, if you get a habit when you're really young,
like for the most part,
that would be anywhere, like you could start reading that at probably like 3, 4. Yeah. Exactly. So like just getting those ideas into a child's head from the get-go, that, they can control the way they think, they control the way they feel, like they have so much more control over themselves than they think they do. So that's why I went for that demographic. I think at some point it would be like really fun to write like the pre-teenage, like that would be fun. But my whole idea was to get them as young as I could.
So did you start reading some books for 5-year-olds to kind of see if you were in the right structure? Because sometimes you can be a little more advanced. Right? So how did you okay, but you don't want to insult them. You have to be smart like them, but not too smart. So how did you do all that?
I did go to the bookstore and Barnes and Nobles.
So you did your research.
Back, yes. Okay. And I went back there, kind of looked through some children's books and whatever. And then I also thought, because I have a lot of nieces and nephews, thought about kind of what they would like, and then just kind of putting myself into that whole mindset of when I was that age. What did I like? What would I have liked? That kind of thing. But yes, I definitely went to the bookstore to look through some books too.
So what did your nieces and nephews say? Were they part of the guinea pig process? Were you here? What
I didn't show anybody till it was done. My son was the only one that read it along the way.
Wow, that's crazy.
Along the way, my son was the only one that read it. Because I've written a lot of stuff that I've never shared with anyone. Just stories about my childhood and everything, because I did want to write a book, but my son is the only one that's read any of that. I have not shared it with anyone but my son. Yeah, he's read all that. So
when it did come out, you got a great feedback from the children.
Yes. They were so excited. So yeah, they were the first ones. As soon as I got it, I got one for all my nieces and nephews. And
that's also, if anybody locally gets it and wants your autograph, what do we do? Will you be honest about book signings? Or are you going to tell us to be vocal on your social media about it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, and I am very vocal on my social media. I want to do more because I promote a lot of stuff that I do business wise, but I haven't been doing enough videos, I think, for this, but I will definitely post it on there.
Because I love stuff. I like when you can go get somebody a book and get it autographed. It's a really nice gift to do that in touch. And this is mainly a local audience. So it's that's, I'm hey, if we get the book on Amazon, can't we come to you and have us autograph it? But you said you haven't there's nothing planned yet for a book signing.
No, but if you're in town and you want me to autograph it, I'll come sign it. Absolutely. I was I think that would be fun. But yeah, so I am in town. So, but on here, it doesn't have my full name. So a lot of people have asked me about this because I put Catrina Lynn.
Yeah, well,
because I still have my foster family's last name, and I don't like that I have that because I've never been married. So I went with my middle and last name. Because one day my last name, hopefully one day my last name will change.
Yeah, and a lot of writers do that.
So I went with my middle and last name.
Where we can find you on social media? Where would you like us to follow you? On Facebook, Instagram, both?
I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. You can find me by my full name, just Catrina Owens. If you look it up on Amazon looking for the book, you would put in Catrina Lynn, just Lynn. Because, like I said, I don't have
on Instagram, you're just Catrina. Are you the only Catrina Owens?
I think so. I spell it with a C. It makes all the difference. I spell it with a C. Everybody else spells Katrina with a K.
That might be it. Yes. So yes, you guys can find Katrina with a C. I can't wait to see all the other stuff you do too, because I think this is really awesome. I think this is really, really cool.
Thank you.
I like your dogs. I want to meet the dogs.
They'll be in all of them. My dogs are going to be in all of them.
Oh, I like that. That's a good character.
I also have a rabbit and a couple cats that I might throw in some of them too. So yeah, that'll be interesting.
Wow, you have a little farm over there.
Oh, yeah, I love animals. I would have all the animals if I could have all the animals. My friends make fun of me. They're like, you would have all the animals.
I love that. Well, this is a great gift. I'm excited about this, and I hope that you really do have some book signings in the future, because I think this would be great.
Yes, I want to. If you have any ideas, throw them my way.
For sure,
because that'd be fun.
So thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Thank you for having me. So much fun.
I love meeting writers. That's what I like. I write too, but not. I have not had a book like this, so this is inspiration.
You should do it. Everybody's like, because I've had people ask me well, what made you do it? Or I thought about doing it. Just do it. I said for so long I wanted to do it, and until I just did it, I would have just kept saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Right. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds so dumb. Just do it, but.
No,
Nike, just do it.
Hey, all the advice you've given has been great so far. So yes, everybody just do it. thank you for coming on my show today.
And thank you for having me.
So I love all the services you offer. So you just graduated. Tell us about that. What did you graduate from?
So I got my psychology degree at Arizona State University and graduated summa cum laude and in the Psi Chi Honor Society for psychology.
That is so cool. Before that, you were always in the business, kind of, but now you just got...
Kind of. So I've always had a passion for helping others, and last year, about a little over a year ago, I decided I wanted to help people like emotionally and mentally, and so I went and got my NLP certification and hypnotherapy, and I originally started down that path to help myself, and it was so beneficial for me, and so I decided that that's what I wanted to do with my career, to help others.
No, that is really impressive, especially because it's so much dedication. Like as we get older, to really go for it and like finish our degrees. And as you said, you're really smart. You graduated with honors, so congratulations on that. Okay, so hypnotherapy. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so a lot of times we have blocks that we're unaware of that our conscious mind won't let us break through certain barriers, and that could be something that goes back from childhood. You know, somebody telling us that we're not good enough or that we'll never amount to anything, things like that. Those are unconscious. Unconscious beliefs and limited. We call them limited beliefs. Sorry, and so a lot of times we're not aware of those, and so it's almost like a computer in our brain, and it's operating on that old computer set, right? And so we just need an upgrade and to get into our unconscious mind and replace those limiting beliefs with new empowering beliefs that we can accomplish certain things. And hypnotherapy helps people. We get them into a relaxed state to where we're really tapping into their unconscious mind, and we can help reprogram their neural pathways and to help them believe that they're capable of, whether it's losing weight, quitting smoking, we have performance enhancement, things like that.
Wow. So what's like the, how many sessions do people, I know it varies for everybody, but how many sessions do people usually have to go through to really change a lot of that?
It really depends. For each issue, it could take one time. Most of my clients, I truly believe in them, and I kind of pre-frame them ahead of time, and so it's usually one session. It can take up to 3 or more if
but
it's
that's
something
really
that's
encouraging,
deep-seated.
though.
Yeah.
That's awesome, because sometimes you're like, oh, you have to be hypnotherapy for a year, and then everyone's like, I don't want to. So that's actually really encouraging. Like, who doesn't want to try something one time that can really help them?
Right, exactly.
And so inner child healing.
Yeah, and so that one, we get into some of the Jungian archetypes, and he was an old psychologist that determined that there's 16 archetypes for us, and a lot of times we're living in an archetype that isn't quite our core identity. And so sometimes, let's say I wanted to be an art major when I was a child, and my parents were like, no, you have to do business, right? And so I become successful in business, but I'm miserable, right? Well, going through this inner child healing program, we can determine what our core identity is and what we've had to become to adapt to our environment, like parents or professors, things like that. And then what kind of our ego is. And so there's different archetypes. And so, yeah, it's just determining, and I learned for myself that I was in a career that didn't suit me at all. And I made a drastic change. I went from human resources to, kind of this woo-woo, hypnotherapy, healing type stuff. And it's exactly where I need to be.
Wow, that is really impressive. Okay, so the intensive breakthrough in this, I assume like one kind of feeds into the other, a lot of the stuff that you're doing.
You can do one of either of those, or the 6-week breakthrough is my most popular package, and that's 6 different sessions, and we go through and we kind of break through some trauma, and we don't like to call it trauma, we call it significant emotional events. So sometimes we have significant emotional events that have happened in our past, and we have a strong emotional tie to it. And so that's how we have triggers today, right? And we don't know where it's coming from.
Right.
You know, if somebody cuts us off and sometimes we get irate and we don't know why, right? Or, you know, somebody looks at us sideways at the grocery store, you know, maybe they have a look, whatever, you know, they look like our grandmother and we don't know it, right? And so, so going through and kind of having the person remove the emotional attachment to that old significant event really empowers them to be free of those triggers. And so, and then also we get into those limiting beliefs, you know, the I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, no one's going to like me, things like that, that we don't realize that we're operating from. So sometimes it can look like I'm a people pleaser, or I'm a workaholic, or I'm a perfectionist. Those are manifestations, and that's how our emotional events play out today. Is, you know, we have triggers from the past, and so we're trying to cover that up basically with those performance issues.
And so how does this differ from like traditional therapies? When you're going to talk to your therapist about like life decisions you're making now, how is this different?
That's such a great question, and I love that question. Traditional talk therapy, they get paid to have you come in and talk to them. Talking about a problem, in our experience, what we've learned in NLP is when we focus on the problem, we're going to see more of that problem. And so talking about it doesn't really ever help the problem go away. You know, we're then focusing on that problem, and we're almost kind of attracting that same problem to replay out in different ways. And so what this does is it helps us go back to that the root issue of when that problem originally occurred, and we remove that emotional bond to it. And so we're not replaying those same tapes over and over. I found in relationships, sometimes people attract the same type of person, you know, whether it's, you know, an addict or a codependent, and we keep reliving those cycles because we haven't broken from that root cause. And so we, you know, get a new boyfriend or girlfriend and they look completely different, but they act the same eventually. And so, you know, learning that we're just kind of repeating the same, what our unconscious mind is used to playing out. It's like a tape that we're used to playing out over and over. Right. And so we kind of go in and we break that cycle. So we don't need to I don't need to know boyfriend or girlfriend, you know, 5 through 15. I'm just going to help a person get into their unconscious mind, and we're going to go to the root problem and kind of remove the emotional tie to that one. And that typically will release the bondage to, you know, the emotional events since then.
That's awesome. So what's some of the feedback that you've gotten and that your clients have said?
So I have been told that, I've helped a person quit smoking with just one session.
Wow, that is very impressive.
Yeah, and it's in fact another client who actually was a potential client that couldn't quite afford it. And I said, you know what, you really don't even need hypnotherapy. And, you know, I probably shot myself in the foot, right? But I was like, you don't really need it. It's all in your unconscious mind. You have the power to do it yourself. So I told him to repeat like this mantra every morning in the mirror to tell him that, you know, I love you. I will just say, Joe, I love you, Joe. You're worthy, and you deserve to be a non-smoker, you know, something like that, something super simple. And I said, repeat it 3 times a day. And he did. And he messaged me 3 days later and he was like, I quit smoking. And I was like, good, yay. But yeah, and then other people have said that they've opened their eyes and they're getting out of unhealthy relationships. They're in toxic relationships. I've helped people that have noticed in their friendships, they attract, women that were like their mother, and their mother was a narcissist or whatever. And so they're consistently being like the people pleaser in their female relationships, and kind of being somewhat abused or
Taken
having
advantage of,
Yeah. And they're finally recognizing it and opening their eyes, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is toxic. And they don't know that before because that's what their unconscious mind is telling them that's
Right.
normal.
That's really impressive. Oh my goodness. So what is it now that you have a degree and everything? Is that just to make yourself better in your field, or because it seems like you've been doing this and you know what to do?
Yes, I love psychology. I love how the mind works. I just love people, and everyone has a different story, and being able to recognize that everyone views life, we all have a different model of the world.
Right.
And so, if I was abused by men and a situation were to happen, I'm going to see it differently than somebody who maybe was never abused and had a loving father, for example.
Right. Sure.
So we might see the same guy and think something completely different. We might look at a situation completely different. And being able to recognize that and help a person exactly where they are and know that their model of the world is right. Their model of the world doesn't have to be the same as mine. I just need to understand their model of the world and know how I can help, take them past whatever threshold is holding them back from their, success or
Right.
love or, whatever blockage they have, whatever, depending on their goal. Some are looking for success, some are looking for love, and they're wondering why I keep attracting these unhealthy men or, emotionally unavailable men, or I'm looking for success. Why am I always the second or third chosen for this promotion?
Right.
It's never me. And being able to help them break through that. A lot of times it's a confidence issue, or, it's something inside of ourselves that's usually holding us back. And
We're our own worst enemy.
Yes, and being able to recognize that and help a person break through that is one of the greatest gifts ever.
I love that. So where do we get a hold of you if we want you to work with you?
So I have Instagram and Facebook. It's Restorative Wellness Pathways. I also have a website, restorativewellnesspathways.com. But I'm on Instagram and Facebook.
And are there a lot of you that work under this umbrella, or
So far, it's just me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just me. I started my own company almost a year ago.
Oh,
so,
wow, it's
yeah.
newer. That's so
yeah,
cool.
it's super new. Mm-hmm.
So what was that like opening your own business after? I mean, is that something that you kind of tell your clients too? Because like you said, you realized through your own therapy that you were in the wrong career path.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was that like? Is that encouraging for your patients or clients, I guess?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely. So I had climbed the corporate ladder. I was on this path. I got my human resources certifications, climbed the corporate ladder, and did what I felt society was telling me to do
Right.
to feel successful. And I was miserable. I had anxiety. I had depression. I was on all kinds of medication. And I almost had a little mini breakdown. And I was like, it's time for me to go on my own healing journey. And it's almost kind of refreshing to a lot of people, because a lot of people, especially around my age, they're all kind of going through the same thing, I'm noticing. A lot of people are like, I'm successful, but I don't feel fulfilled.
And it is scary to start a new career path.
It is.
You're like,
It is. Yes. Yeah.
So I bet you do like really help them a lot because they see that you're kind of succeeding in this new path.
Yes. Yeah. And I do life coaching and everything too. So I help people. I have helped people make some career transitions, or, whether it's building boundaries with their families, things like that.
And so life coaching is all like therapy, except you can give advice and tell people what to do, whereas therapy, you just listen. Is that correct, or different?
Yeah, so therapy is listening and giving advice. Life coaching is kind of having them, we all have the answers for our own path inside of us. Each and every one of us knows divinely what we should and should not be doing. And so it's just a matter of somebody helping that person with a certain pattern of questioning on how to help them answer their own questions. because we all have it inside of us. I can't tell you what you should be doing, but I can help ask questions to help you uncover what it is that you should be doing, or what type of person you should be dating, or, you know, things like that, what kind of boundaries you should have.
Well, that's awesome. So everyone can get a hold of you on Facebook or Instagram
Yes.
or the actual website.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I love this. I like how you went through each one of them, because I think a lot of people are like, okay, well, which one do I even need?
Yeah.
And then they can actually like see all this.
Yeah, and we start with an initial consult, and that's typically either an hour up to 90 minutes, but I go through and ask very clear questions based on what goals you have.
And then you can tell them what they need from that,
and
right?
then I give my
Okay.
recommendations from there, yeah.
Right on. And
Yeah.
people could do refreshers with you, I imagine.
Absolutely.
So it's like
Yeah.
that thing. Thank you so much for coming on
Thank
my
you
show
for
today.
having
I'm
me.
so happy to learn about this. So it is Restorative Wellness Pathways, guys. Thank you for coming on my show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Okay, so tell us what you guys have going on.
Yeah, so we are currently filming a feature-length horror film for my company, Phoenix Fire Productions.
And this is really cool. I actually love this
Yeah.
whole look, Unhinged. So
poster.
tell us about Unhinged, because it does sound scary by the title already.
Yeah, so with in appearance alone, on the outside, it's a horror movie. It's a slasher movie, but when you watch it, it's essentially a character study of what happens to people after. In slasher movies, there's the group of teens that are sliced and diced by the main slasher, but we don't find out what happens after that. And so this is a story of what would happen if the main characters of a horror movie survived and had to deal with trauma, PTSD, grief, and that's sort of the main point of the story.
Wow, that is really cool. I love it. Like, it's like a
Appreciate you.
psychological thriller then, kind of.
Absolutely,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. I
Yeah.
love stuff like that. That's right up my alley.
Hey, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so who wrote those?
Written by me. Written by me.
And so what do you do?
I just I help out emotionally.
Okay.
I'm an actor.
He's my muse. He's my muse.
an actor.
Yeah, no, he's in my film. He plays Coley Faulkner,
Yeah.
which is actually in film my character and best friend, and in real life he is my my cousin and best friend. So
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, so I have a weird question. I hope we can answer it without giving too much away. So
course.
do any of these PTSD, these people that had all these issues, do they end up going on killing sprees or do anything?
We
It is
we
a
can't talk too
possibility.
much about what's going to happen. There's no spoilers.
We must keep it on the down
There's a
low.
lot of surprises, a lot of twists and turns.
I will say this script is very jerky. It takes you from one place to the other. It definitely will make people a little bit upset.
Just reading the script for the first time, because I didn't write it, so reading it was full of surprises. I was amazed.
No. Well, thank you. Thank you very
So
much.
what's your guys' history with filmmaking?
Yeah, so we actually grew up making short films together. This is true.
It's very true.
Yeah, we grew up making this stupid kind of like webcam series together called Roommates. First entry came out when we were like 11, 12, and from there we kind of went our own separate ways. He fell out of film a little bit, but ended up meeting a girl who was super into it and got back into it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I just kept pursuing the filmmaking journey. I kept practicing and watching more movies and hanging out with the right people, and ultimately I guess I became a filmmaker. It's weird how time flies.
So did you guys study filmmaking anywhere? What was like the progression of
Yeah,
it?
so the most studying I've done is just watching the movies. Really, that's about as far as it goes
We
for me.
both grew up in theater, too. So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah,
That's the best actors come from theater,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
a lot of drama club.
A lot of drama club. There you go.
But like, how'd you like? I know you're just self-taught with all the filmmaking and all that, because I'm really fascinated about that with that and the camera angles and all that.
Sure,
stuff.
yeah. So the more you watch movies and the more you watch, whether it's podcasts or how-to videos on YouTube, interviews with people like just famed cinematographers, or you can just really just pick it up for yourself. When you watch movies and there's that shot that makes you awed and it makes you wowed, you try to replicate that in your own short films, and it looks awful the first couple tries. But then you figure out how to do it, and then you realize how they lit it, and then slowly but surely the elements of the entire shot come into play a little bit.
Do you have an example of like a scene that wowed you?
Sure. So the worst thing about filming the first act of this film was artificial moonlight, because we would see it in movies, and it looks so good, right? The moonlight's shining in through the window. It's super bright, but at the same time you get the idea that it's moonlight. And so I would try to replicate it, but it would always be too dark. So what I realized was that the gaffers on most films overlight night scenes so that they can either dim it in post or add a blue hue. Typically what they'll do is they'll lower the exposure in post after just lighting the image to hell, which I never knew that was a thing. But now when I watch movies that have artificial moonlight, like, I don't know, say Boogeyman.
True.
You can tell how they did it, and it's so weird. It's like being on the set. It's almost like you're following a treasure map, and you're getting to each of the spots that your beloved filmmakers have gotten before you. You know, it's trippy.
So cool. Okay, so you know all of that. You know all the acting. Where'd you become a writer?
Writer. I've been writing since I was 12 years old. Yeah, my first ever thing I ever wrote was a short story called Cabin. It was about 30 pages. It was crazy. You read it. You hated it.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Granted, we were 12, and he was very critical of my work. I mean, rightfully so. It was pretty bad. But we've gotten better. So what I've done is I essentially just kept writing. I kept reading screenplays. And before I knew it, I had written so much that I actually got early onset carpal tunnel. Now I'm 20. So it's crazy.
So you were writing for handwriting everything?
No, typing.
Typing.
Typing so much, I literally actually have.
Wow.
Yeah, I happen to have my wrist braces in here.
And that was from just writing.
Just writing all the time. I currently have 30 screenplays under my belt, I believe.
Oh my
I've written about 12 short films, 2 of which I've adapted, 2 novels, and 2 musicals. So my hands are tired.
That is, wow, that's super impressive. Okay, so where's anything now that we can see of your work?
Yeah, so Unhinged is not currently out. Will be soon. And you can essentially keep up with updates on all of my social media.
Can we watch any of your short films?
Any of my short films?
Yeah.
Right now?
No, in general.
In the future.
Like, where can we go?
Yes, of
Is
course.
it on YouTube or?
Presumptuous of me. Yes. So Phoenix Fire Productions has a lot of my short films. They get better and better as they go along. I have one short film out called The Rebirth of Albie Laurent. That's split into 2 parts. It's actually a 30-minute short film.
So it's on Phoenix.
Phoenix Fire Productions on YouTube. Just look that up and you'll find it immediately.
I would love to. That sounds really cool. Okay.
Yeah. The logo is a girl in fire kind of balleting through the air a little bit. So hard to miss. But and then my second short film is a short called Dolly. And that's a psychological thriller short film about a girl who was forced to dress up like a doll and behave like a 60s housewife under threat of beating.
It's dark.
Pretty dark.
Wow, I really can't wait to see all this stuff. Okay, so what's going to happen with Unhinged? Where are you guys going to put that out?
Unhinged. So what we found out that's kind of crazy is that it's actually eligible for Amazon Prime.
Yay!
So we are thinking about reaching out to them soon. It's feature length. There's a lot of promotional material to go along with it. And ultimately, it's kind of looking up there. If Amazon Prime doesn't happen to work out, we have a lot of low-level distributors that were interested in speaking with us. So I think it's kind of a go.
Did you film most of that in the Central Valley?
Oh, all of it's filmed in the Central Valley.
All of it's filmed in the Central Valley.
We've been filming over this weekend.
Yeah, we just finished it.
That's what took us here.
Yeah.
And then you met a lot of people that are in the film through acting classes, through when you guys did theater?
Yeah. Literally everybody in them. So actually, shout out for my cast here. So this is McKenna Frisbee. I've been doing theater with her for like 9 years.
Nice.
Yeah, we're pretty close. She is a fantastic actress, and she was actually in my short film Dolly. Which is awesome. She has some experience with Phoenix Fire, truly. This is my friend Timo Verdusco. He's relatively new. I found him over, I think, Fresno Facebook Alliance.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my very own sister, Rennie Baker.
Oh, you just threw her into the mix. You're like, you're acting whether you like it or not.
Hi, Ren, what's up? She's really tiny because, that's how we like it. And this is Bella Villanueva, super funny, super amazing human being, and honestly, I couldn't have a better cast. We are loaded. We're great.
Well, it's really interesting. You said you knew that one girl for 9 years. I mean, you must have really seen them go from such a range. Like you saw them grow up and grow as an actor.
Pretty much, and hey, they saw me too. And honestly, it's kind of become a little bit of a hub. They know what I can do, I know what they can do, and we essentially kind of have this natural chemistry that just flows on set.
I'd imagine.
Shooting is really fun, really easy, and they know what I want, which is amazing. It's really easy.
And how do you get your special effects people?
Special effects people, I do it all myself.
No, really?
Yeah, so really the classic. It's classic tricks. So this movie is less of a slasher movie than a character study. So there's a lot of things that happen in this movie that are just more slice and dice very quickly for the shock of it, rather than, decapitations, anything like that. Because it's more of a character study, right? So we got the classic, blood on the edge of the knife, drag along. Oh, there's a bloody arm trick. We have, I think, one throat slash in here. A lot of it is imagery rather than effects, so it's actually pretty easy to work with.
Well, a lot of people don't die; they're wounded, so that's got to be right.
That is true. That is true.
Right.
There's a lot of wounding. Honestly, when in doubt, blood it out. That's what I say. Truly, I'll just take actors into my shower in there and just douse them with fake blood. It usually does the trick.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
a lot of death too.
It's a lot of death in this movie. It's unhinged, one might say.
It is unhinged.
That is so cool. So then, what's the next move after this? How long is this, by the way, taking you to do this feature?
Yeah, so production was stalled. Production was stalled during Act 1. It would have been finished in May, but due to particular reasons, it would have been done in March 1st.
Okay.
It got held back to May, what is it now? May 20th, 21st?
Most projects I have been, there's one project I had that really got delayed for a year because of the writer's strike and everything. So I understand delays.
Right. Only Act 1, actually. Act 2 is trucking.
That's really cool.
Act 2 is trucking. Because we don't have the same issues that we have on Act 1, thankfully.
True.
So Act 2 is trucking along. We're moving. The cast is fully willing. The schedules are flexible. Honestly, it worked out perfectly.
That's
really
awesome.
great. Yeah.
So then after this, what's the next? I know you have a next one.
We got a next one. So as for next Phoenix Fire project, we do a lot. Phoenix Fire Productions covers musicals, short films, music, and also feature films, such as this one. Our musical Love and Death Saga is actually coming out soon. It's in workshop right now. We have rehearsals here. Yeah.
So it's a musical that's going to be like a play that we can go watch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a concert coming up August 24th.
I don't know how you could wear that many hats. To me, that's like a completely different, wow.
I'm a little bit obsessive, but it's okay. It gets the job done.
So where can we see that at?
So the musical, August 24th, 5:30 to 7:30 at California Arts Academy Blackstone. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be pretty scary. This musical is more of a slow burn musical, but very horror-oriented. There's a character in there called Lady Death that takes the souls of dead men.
And you're writing the music too?
Yeah, it's fully composed.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is so impressive.
he's a jack of all trades.
Maybe.
Swear.
I don't know.
So where can we follow you? Because I'm sure you're going to tell us when everything we wear and when we can watch everything.
I'm on top of everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So Phoenix Fire Productions, that's going to be across all boards. So we have a Phoenix Fire Productions Instagram, Phoenix Fire Productions Facebook, Phoenix Fire Productions TikTok, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And Phoenix Fire Productions YouTube channel, which is where all the goodies go.
Right on.
YouTube's how you keep up.
And on Instagram and Facebook, you're letting us know as well.
Yeah, there are numerous posts on Instagram and Facebook across all boards. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody will stay updated all the time.
So what else have you acted in that's not his stuff? Or do you only act with him?
I'm mostly just doing acting, being his best friend.
Yeah, you know what? He was in a music video, thanks to the amazing Savannah Beanick.
True.
Who's another filmmaker of ours down in SoCal. What's up, Savannah?
Shout out.
Shout out to Savannah Beanick. You were in a short film, a music video.
A lot of music videos.
He played a, what was your character?
I don't even remember. We've done so many.
You wore the wildest clothes. He had shades, and he did this a lot. So that's what he's known. He's best known for doing this in music videos.
And true, I can do that really well. But what might be next is another Roommates film too. There's talk.
Yeah. So we grew up making webcam movies. Just stupid little kids in their garage, right? We want to turn that into an actual competent web series. We want to pay homage.
And use the old footage?
No, all new footage. Us as grown-ups.
But that'd be kind of cool to see. I'd love to see the before and after. That'd be fun.
Oof, I don't know if I can release Roommates footage on Phoenix Fire. That is.
We'll see if the fans want it.
If the fans want it.
I think that would be really impressive to see the before and after and all that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would be enlightened to witness that. That would be a perfect little arc from childhood to adulthood, for sure.
So is this what your main guys' thing is now? It's all creative. That's all you do all day long?
Pretty much when we're not watching awesome movies like Zodiac, which we watched the other night.
Studying.
Yeah, when we're not studying movies, we're making movies, pretty much.
That is really cool. And then it's like you said you were all self-taught. How does that work? Because everyone thinks they have to do this, that, and the other to get now. What do you tell people?
So I'll tell you what, I grew up with not a lot of friends. And it was no fault of society's. I want to say I was pretty standoffish. I wasn't really a go-getter. I wasn't really out there all that much. I kind of stayed by myself, you know what I mean? That did lead to a lot of loneliness, but I found that my coping mechanism as a child was writing stories, telling stories, being friends with all the characters that I made in some way, shape, or form. And ultimately, when it becomes your one sort of coping mechanism and your one love language, it becomes you. I live and breathe movies. It's all I want to do. It's all I ever think about. I'm quite obsessive. I'm a bit of a workaholic. Pros and cons, but it's what I want to do for the rest of my life, and nothing is ever going to stop me. And so that's how I've been able to be on top of all this stuff. It's kind of part of my soul a little bit. Don't try it home.
Oh my gosh, well, what about you?
What am I doing nowadays? Just working hard. I'm in college, so
So what are you studying?
business management.
Oh, yeah.
So kind of boring, but gets the job done, pays the bills. So,
So
I
he's
support this
your
guy.
fun outlet then.
I just want to support this guy.
No,
You know, I'll pay the bills, and he can make his movies. I'll help him out, and
Amen.
just be there for him.
I love that. We got to follow both of you. So the Phoenix film,
Yeah.
and then what is it about you? Do you have a personal IG, or you guys have?
No,
He's off the grid.
I'm off the grid. I live vicariously through him.
What if somebody wants to hire you for an acting gig?
I know.
I
Hey,
think if it's meant to be, it'll happen.
if you want to hire this man,
Well, yeah, but I
reach
mean,
out
they have to
me.
get a hold of you. That's the point.
If anybody wants to hire Evan Hutchins, come through me. I'm his temporary
He's
agent.
my agent. He's really my agent.
I'm his agent.
Yeah.
So,
Right on. Thank you guys so much for coming on my show today.
Thank you.
absolutely. You got it. Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you.
Well, it's been months with you, girl. Watching me. Stalking me. Waiting for me to drop like a dog. I know what you're after. I know what you've come to claim from me. But what I don't know is why. What are you? What could you be? What did I do to deserve this fate? What did my girl do? A part of me deep down thinks she can't help it. That you're some lost, lonely little girl inside, waiting to come home. But that couldn't be it, could it? Maybe you're just some demon, sent from hell, to take everything I've ever known and loved. Maybe you're here to destroy me. Or maybe, just maybe, deep down, there's something good. Or maybe you're just here to kill me. Take my soul like you took my wife's. Look.
Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Ryan Elias Baker. I'm playing around with lights. Thank you for watching this promo of my debut feature film, Unhinged. Unhinged is a character-driven slasher movie based on all the great 80s slashers that we love. There are numerous references in here, callbacks, throwbacks to the horror movies that I grew up with. From Friday the 13th to Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, this film has all the soul of those old movies. My first horror film was Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors. I was 3 years old. My dad introduced me really young, which my mom thought was a terrible idea, but honestly, in retrospect, movies like that paved the way to greater things for me. Movies like that were the genesis of Unhinged and the basis for the entire treatment. Speaking of treatment, you'll recognize that I'm wearing scrubs. That's because the main villain in this film is an escaped mental patient who has escaped from Barnabas Holmes Sanitarium. He's out late one cold December night stalking teenagers. These teenagers, of course, are played by me and my friends. Kena Frisbee, Bella Villanueva, Timo Verduzco, and my own sister, Ren Baker, who's actually playing my sister in the film. What up, sis?
What are you doing in there with these titterings? Wait, I need to read that actually, because I don't know what I'm doing in here. Oh, I remember recording this one.
Yep.
That was weird. We recorded it like 50 times, I remember.
Black. Opening credits. The scraping, guttural hymn of an 80s synthesizer plagues our ears and fills our heads with a sense of foreboding. Unveil Keith.
Fucking Beth, fucking rats, fuck me today in history.
That is a lot of fucking.
No, seriously.
I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, no.
Orion! That's all of us.
Orion!
It says the car, but it's not the actual car talking. That was a crazy sci-fi movie.
Oh, you say that. I thought it was Connor. I was like, no way Connor would say that.
Or just the blood-soaked blade from the flesh over and over again.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.
Hi, I'm Sparkle Sujin, and I am the host of the Everything Sparkle Show. I would like to invite you to come and hang out with me every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, as I interview the world one guest at a time. Everything Sparkle is available on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and CMAC.tv. Plus, if you're in the Central California area, you can watch on Comcast Xfinity Channel 93 or AT&T Uverse Channel 99. Hope to see you there.